Welcome back to Noise Avocation Podcast. I am Ryan here with Jeremy.
What up?
And we also have another Ryan and Dan from the band Big Life here with us. How you guys doing? Thanks for jumping on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Good, man.
Two
Yeah, thank you.
Two Ryans make a right, is what I've been told.
It would have been funny if Dan was a Jeremy.
Or Jeremy was a
We can get
Dan.
there.
Or Jeremy was a Dan. One day we might run into that. But yeah, first off, thank you guys for taking the time to do this, especially on a Monday night. I know everybody gets busy with stuff, so we're happy that we could actually arrange the time to make it happen. Both big fans of the album. Jeremy had heard this before I did, and when we were doing our like sort of year-end wrap-up, he had brought up the record, and I went and listened to it, and sounds very familiar in many ways, but very fresh and different in a lot of ways as well. Like we were talking about, was it Out of Breath?
Yeah.
So we were talking about this earlier on today where we played it and like the guitar riff in there, we were like, you know this song, right? And I'm like, yeah, but no, like I can't figure out what it is. Like there's a lot that sounds like what you've heard before, but in a way you guys bring your own spin on it to make it sound like something you really haven't heard before as well.
Well, we appreciate the assessment. You know, I think that there's, as like the person who's writing a lot of the riffs, you know, like Dan is the vocalist. He's writing, 99.9% of the lyrics at this point. I kind of bring the riff ideas and then we sort of all, get together and sort of hash it out, in the room. But I think like we're sort of like a backwards hardcore band, and I think that might be where you're getting the like, we've heard it, but it feels new kind of thing, because certainly we all listen to hardcore and all have like a, a love and respect for the genre. But I think that we also listen to a lot of things outside of that as well. And so when we're approaching songs and putting ideas together, like hardcore might be the last thing that we're referencing, we might start in a different place and then it kind of gets back to the original idea of the band, which is was to do something heavy and aggressive, and kind of punk and in your face. But, I think for the last record, especially, we really tried to kind of like just push ourselves and not have any rules. And so there's like a lot of like shoegazy like whammy bar stuff going on. There's some like long extended parts that maybe we wouldn't have done when we first started. There's things that
in
kind
there.
of,
I think that's fucking awesome. The
say it again.
synthesizer, and then the saxophone. Like you guys you put everything in there, man. I think that's fucking great.
Yeah. Well, thanks for noticing, because those are the things that like, I mean, it's kind of cliche. It's like, oh, well, we'll just put a synth in there and then everything, it's going to be so mind blowing, which is not the intention. It's really more for musical choices and to like accentuate things and to add,
No,
little
for sure.
earworms that are gonna.
It colors it. It doesn't. It's
Right.
not like you're making a fucking EDM song. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's a great way to put it. It is exactly what it's for, is to add color, to add surprise, to add a little element that might be unexpected. So
Like my
thank
first,
you for,
my first
the assessment.
impressions of it were, even like you guys said, Dead Kennedys and Minor Threat. Definitely Dead Kennedys, Husker Du, The Replacements, like a lot of like Midwest, college radio is what I heard a lot in it. Even like REM type shit. And then
You just named like every
every
Minneapolis band ever.
Right. Well, I mean, that's like that's what it sounds like, To it, I can hear those influences in there. But when I heard that saxophone, I was like, oh my god, that's fucking awesome. That kind of reminded me of like some Stoogie shit.
Thank you. Oh yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, shout out to Matt Jones. Matt Jones is a guy I used to work with. He played sax on it and just ripped it. It was.
Does he do anything else musically? Is he just like a one-off? I'm fucking gonna rip on this.
Yeah, he plays in a band called The Clouds with a K.
Oh, right on.
And they're a like a R&B funk kind of, maybe a little smooth jazz kind of stuff. Like they play a ton. They played at the
dope.
auto show actually this weekend.
Right on.
And they play a lot at like Cliff Bell's, which is downtown
It's like
Detroit.
Yeah,
a
yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
like a swanky jazz club
Swanky
downtown. Yeah.
place.
I believe actually I seen a video of that because a friend of mine was at the auto show and then sent me a video of this band playing at a jazz club, and that may have been the band.
Probably
to be honest
was.
with you,
It's
Boy.
possible. Yeah, he's awesome. He rips.
it's good to have a guy that can play saxophone though, because it's not an instrument that like anybody generally in punk and hardcore bands, unless you're a ska band, picks up and is like, you know what, I'm gonna be the guy that plays sax.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so it's good to know somebody like back pocket to where you're like, I can
Totally.
call this guy and have
Yeah.
him jump on the track.
Yeah, I have a
And
lot of
we-
different musical projects that I do, and he's played on all of them.
Oh, right on. That's cool.
Yeah.
Lyrically, I really like how like honest it is. Like I feel like you did this on the last record too, where you're kind of like talk shit about the world, but you're like, I'm also part of the problem. So like maybe you know what I'm saying? Like, so maybe we should do it together type thing. I like that where it's not so much pointing the fingers at everybody else and being like,
Yeah.
you're a fucking idiot. Like you're like, no, we're like the last record you had a line about the TV going to hell or watching the world go to hell on the TV, and you just sat there and watched, and I'm like,
Yeah.
so did I. You know,
Yeah,
like
man.
everybody did.
It's like that Tool song "Vicarious" is what that's all
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's really
it's
good, and they're
it,
catchy.
it,
Your
it's
words.
there's kind of no shortage of shit to like point fingers at right now.
For sure, for
And I
sure.
guess for the last handful of years, right? But we also kind of I don't really feel like writing kind of positive, kind of, hey gang, let's all, we don't worry about it, we can do it together kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that feels
yeah.
disingenuous too. So there's a middle ground where you kind of got to just reflect a little bit and be like, yeah, all this shit sucks, but like, if we're gonna do something about it, it starts with you. And I guess the first part about realizing that is that, yeah, you're part of it too. You're part of
Right,
the problem. So
for sure.
I don't know. I
It's
think
good.
just having a little bit different perspective on, I mean, I was in, punk bands when I was, a teenager and in college. Uh, and there's just a different perspective right now, as a dad, I think that Ryan probably will attest to this too. It kind of colors everything that you do. And like, that's my perspective on writing about a lot of the shit that's happening, these days too, where it's like, from the perspective of like this is stuff your kids are going to have to deal with. This is stuff your kids have to deal with right now. But this is going to be you're handing this over to them too. Uh, so there's kind of an extra element of frustration and personal responsibility to that too.
Yeah, I thought like when I had a kid, and my son's an adult now, but I thought I was gonna calm down, and I got more pissed.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it to test to what you're saying is it's like, wait a minute, like now I got to worry about this shit for somebody else, not just me, you know?
absolutely. No, it radicalizes you in different ways where it's like you have this instinct that's like I have to play it safe and protect these kids and like make sure that I'm still around for them, but it also just makes you fucking furious for everything that's getting dumped on them out of your control. uh yeah, it is, it's
Then you just
it
dump
changes
it into a
perspective,
good
man.
ass record, and then bam, there you go. You know what I mean? Like, and
There you
here we
go.
are.
Yeah, I thought I was insane in my 20s. Now I'm completely insane in my 40s.
Yeah, right.
And I have a 14-year-old, so does Dan.
Yeah.
And so it's a weird time, to have um, teenage kids, especially because you know, they've got phones and they've got everything that's kind of like being blasted into their eyeballs. And, I think both of our kids, Dan's got two kids, I've got one, and they don't see like a ton of what is like actually happening in the world. But, we share things on our own social media that are kind of speaking out. Obviously, they know we're in this band and that when they see us play, they know that there's some element of like, rage and anger from a, like a, you know, societal perspective or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're like putting all of the things together, but they see it anyway. Or if they don't see it, the it sort of emanates off you. It's like this, like,
Most
you
definitely.
know, um,
They don't like,
you're,
they'd always feel it. Have you now?
yeah,
Have they come? Obviously, they're 14, so they're old enough. So they've come to your shows and stuff.
yep,
That's
Oh
yeah,
dope.
yeah.
That's cool. Are they into music?
Yeah. My son is, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been taking him to hardcore shows for years now. Like that was it's always like super fun to be able to be the one bringing the little kid with the
Yeah,
earmuffs into the,
for
you
sure.
know, punk show at a basement or a screen printing shop or whatever.
Yeah,
Had him tied down watching Drug Church sitting on my shoulders. Like, yeah, he's fucking into it. So
that's awesome. So,
he he also likes a bunch of music that just sounds like video game bleep bloop stuff too.
my
So,
kid, my kid
we can all,
likes the bleep bloop stuff. He doesn't
The
like
fucking
vocals.
bleep bloop
I mean,
sounds
he's like
like
yeah.
the
into video
oldest
game shit,
possible thing you could call
you
that.
know. But we know what you're talking about.
No, I know
You
what you're
know,
talking
the bleep
about, but
bloop.
it just sounds like you're saying like, "Oh, these damn kids
Oh
on the
shit.
internet today."
I swear, man, when I hear it coming out of his room, it makes me feel old. It's like I don't. I used to listen to like shit that I'm sure was like super obnoxious to my dad, and now I have that same perspective now,
Yeah,
where I'm like,
it comes full circle.
yeah, yeah,
Pretty
man.
cool.
Outside of the record being like it paints a picture of sort of like the problem with the world today in a way. I like that it's also very motivational. Like there's a lot of like get off your ass and stop being a lazy piece of shit involved in there. But it's in like a really fun way. But you basically almost kind of say just that. Like I like that about it too because I was actually listening this morning again at the gym. And I was like, I am off my ass not being a lazy piece of shit. Like, but it's a lot of fun start to back. Like, so tell us, like, did you guys go into a recording studio for this? Did you record it out of your house? How did that all go down?
yeah. So we recorded this with a guy named Pat uh, Schufelt, I think is how you say his last name. He runs a studio in Hazel Park. I think it's in Madison
Yeah,
Heights, something like that.
he's
So just like another suburb of Detroit that's like, not too far away from us. It's called IO Recording. Um, and it's a cool, I mean, I was gonna say little room. It's not that little. I mean, it's not like a gigantic studio or anything like that, but it's a decent size and it's comfortable there. And Pat has been making um, kind of punking aggressive records in town now for the last, I don't know, maybe like 10 years and doing it out of his house. And then a couple of years ago, they got a studio space. So we have acquaintances, other friends, bands that we know that have, recorded there. And we knew that we wanted to meet the intensity of the lyrics with the intensity of the recording. And we realized that we're not like the heaviest band in the, grand scheme of things, right? And that's not really our intention. There's other bands that do that very well, and that's not really what we're like aiming for necessarily, but we wanted something that still felt like super aggressive.
Mm.
And Pat absolutely knocked it out of the park. He, from the, I mean, the drums, the bass tone is like super like cutting. The guitars are really saturated and have like a lot going on. The vocals are really like pushed and overblown. And he was like totally game and cool to do like whatever we want. We were like, no, more distortion on the vocals. And he's like, okay, and sometimes it's like, is that too much? But we really wanted to like, even though I don't even think we like talked about it, like we really wanted to like match, the intensity, like I said, of the lyrical content with the presentation of the music, but do it in a way that wasn't just heavy for heavy's sake. Like we were trying to be like intentional about,
Yeah,
like on
like
this
a
part we
different
want
kind
to
of
push
heavy, not so
X.
much a sonic heavy as much as of a like a emotional delivery. You want that heavy and you want that to come through, and I think it does.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean that Pat did a amazing job capturing it. We did it all live. There's like amp bleed going on. It's like very much like, meant to almost feel like you're kind of in this like
It's just an
cacophony
open
of
open room,
craziness.
open room
Yeah, open
recording.
room. I mean, some things were baffled, but like inevitably it's still gonna bleed. Drum mics are gonna bleed into amps and amps are gonna bleed into drum mics, and like it kind of kept us honest throughout the whole process too, like if we didn't nail something, we would do it again, and so um
Well,
yeah, I mean, like
it's incredibly catchy, dude. I mean, it's like
thank you.
earworm like hell, you know. Like the first track just that shit just keeps. I mean, that's what you wanted, but it's just like goes and goes.
Yeah, cool. Well, we know we I would say that like that goes back to, I mean, we didn't really talk about it, but like everybody in this band kind of, has things that they like really gravitate towards musically, and then like how we sound ends up being the middle ground. And I think a lot of bands are, of course, like that. But like for me, like I am like a power pop songwriter, kind of outside of this band. Like I like Matthew Sweet and Teenage Fan Club and the Beatles. And like when I sit down to write, if it's not for this band, like that's the kind of stuff that I'm writing. Whereas like Dan is maybe coming at things from a more punk background. Um, our bass player Jordan is super into like, you know, jazz and, experimental music. Sean, our bass player, is probably like more into like 90s emo and things like that. But like, and these are things that we're all also into. Like, I love punk music and I love jazz music and I love 90s emo, Uh, and so it all just kind of like, starts to coagulate together. And
Yeah.
the catchiness, I think, comes from just this like idea that like you can do heavy music. I mean, like, Nirvana is a great example of like In Utero is abrasive and gross sounding sometimes. We have a song called Civil War Land on this record that we would call like the Bleach song,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
just
for
because
sure.
it didn't sound like we weren't like trying to write a Nirvana Bleach era Nirvana song, but it just had that like kind of like this is gross but catchy, like which I think is Bleach in a nutshell, where you're just like this like what like this shouldn't be as like a song like School, like like it's
Yep.
got like a double kick drum in it and shit, but it's super melodic, like it's, and that's kind of, I think, I mean, like I like music that's got some kind of hook to it, something that you can sink your teeth into. And so yeah, that's just kind of how it manifested and came out.
Well, I like the little harmonies too in there where you're both singing, like,
Hmm.
and I guess that's like a bad. It kind of reminds me of like a Bad Religion or like
Hmm.
Epitaph style bands, but it really shows that your musicianship. Like you said, you're like a huge like power pop guy, and then Dan's like into more so into like punk or whatever. You guys listen to
Hmm.
everything, but can it's not just simple 3 chord fucking chicka 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 dut 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 breakdown done. I
Right,
mean,
right, right.
that's why I like the replayability of it. And I just, kind of always finding other little things in there. Like I didn't catch the harmonies until I listened to it for like the second time through, you know what I
Okay,
mean? And
cool.
then synthesizer, like, oh, what the fuck is that? That kind of thing is. So it's definitely, that's why it's in our top 10, Really
Thanks.
dug it, man.
Well,
You guys did a good job. What,
you
Yeah,
know,
thanks,
as
man.
yeah, as people, I mean, I've been playing music for a really long time and a lot of different projects, and you know, whenever somebody wants to talk about it, it's super flattering and appreciated. But I think when people are able to kind of pick up on some of the things that you're talking about that are maybe not as like forward in the mix, or what, like something that might be a little bit more in the background, like to me, that just means that you didn't hear it, you listened to it,
yes,
and
sir. Yes,
like
sir.
that really means a lot. So, thanks so much.
Which actually brings me to another question. You guys did that Husker Du cover, which sounds amazing, but you didn't put it on the record. Is it because apparently there's a story to that?
Dan, you want to take this?
They got a cease
Well,
and desist.
It's not controversial.
yeah, not really. It was just like within the band, some of us argued for it being on the record. Others others against it, and that's just kind of where it ended up
Gotcha.
landing. So yeah, I would have rather. I would have loved to hear that on the record too, but who knows?
But no,
Maybe we'll collect a bunch of these for later. I don't know.
that's good. And then I was like, maybe because I listened to the record, but then I was just talking to somebody else about a completely different album that had a hidden track on it, and he's like, you know, how many people don't know there's a hidden track, and I'm like, you know, how many people don't listen to the record? They just, you know, buy it and shelve it. And then I'm like, what if it's secret on there and I missed it? I'm gonna feel like a dick.
That
So
was
I listened to
discussed.
it again, you know, and I'm like, okay, it's not hidden in there
Yeah.
anywhere.
That was discussed. There's a Jawbox record, the last Jawbox record. It's just self-titled, and there's a cover of Cornflake Girl by Tori Amos on it.
Okay.
And it is awesome. First of all, it's like Jawbox playing that song. So if you're a Jawbox person, you could probably figure out what it sounds like. If you've never heard it, I would suggest it. But it's like so long after. This is the age of CDs when, like, you know, they were like 80 minutes of music.
Yeah,
Let's use it all, you know? And there's like, I don't know, maybe like I'm making this up and misremembering it, but I feel like it's at least 10 minutes
Yeah.
from the like end of the last song until that starts. And then all of a sudden you're just like, holy shit. So that was discussed, you know, as like an idea. I think we ultimately, you know, we hadn't like well, I mean, we put what, a record out every year that we've been a band. So like it's gonna sound like we hadn't done anything in a while, you know, which we had, but we just thought, you know, it'd be fun to put just like a cover out maybe a month or two before the record came out, just to like be like, hey, remember we exist, you know. And so we actually did that, and we did a Wire song too, and put like I sang that one
Okay.
with everybody playing on it. And we did that. I put that out kind of as just like a solo thing with the band backing me up. But yeah, it's fun to do that sometimes, to just kind of like drop something, you know, it's not your song, especially, you know, and God, dude, like the content wars, right? Like, I mean, it's impossible to like.
But that's why I wondered. But then I'm like, well, it is on Spotify. I don't know. But hey, future 7-inch maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And we talked about that too. I mean, you know, it's fun to do those things, and we actually, you know, I maybe should punt it back to Dan for this, but we got to play with Greg Norton. We
Really?
got to open up for his band. They're called Ultra Bomb, and they do some Husker Du songs. They do their own shit, and I like sent him a Instagram message. I was like, hey man, like, we cover this song. Is it okay if we play it at the show? You know? And we did, and he was like, that fucking rocked, you know. And then he actually pulled Dan up during their set, and they sang New Day Rising together, which was
that's
like
sick.
super cool. And
That's
he is
awesome,
like an
dude.
awesome guy. I mean, you know, I don't know when this is gonna air. I don't know what the fuck is going on in this world, but shout out Minneapolis. Everybody I know from Minneapolis is a fucking like gem of a human being. And Greg Norton is one of those people now, you know, that I can safely say is like a very kind, supportive, cool human being.
So
So
you
I don't know, Dan, if you want to like say anything else about that, but it was a
No,
cool
man,
moment.
it was an extremely cool moment. Like it was, I mean, I don't know if we were gonna talk later about show stories or whatever, but that was my favorite show moment of last year. Yeah, just getting to be on stage singing a Husker Du song with members of Husker Du. That kind of fucks, man. That was
yeah,
pretty
that
tough to beat.
that's pretty tough to top. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that isn't
Yeah.
really an opportunity that comes along very often.
No.
Well, and you know, the dude's like, I don't know, he's probably like 60, 64, 65. And
Sure.
just to like continue to like feel like, you know, there's no boundaries here. Like you just get up on stage and sing this with us, like spontaneous, like we didn't talk about it, you know.
Yeah,
And it
Yeah.
just happened, you
It
know,
was
and
real.
he's like looked at Dan, he said, come up here, man. And you know, just like it's shit like that like makes you, you know, we're both, Dan and I are in our 40s, you know, mid 40s, and you know, like Bob Mould puts a great record out every couple of years, you know, and he's now gonna take Sugar on tour, who are one of my favorite bands. And You know, they just the fact that there's people, lifers like those guys out there still getting in a van or whatever, you know, and going and playing punk music to people and making them like extremely happy, I should say. I mean, it wasn't like a sold out crowd for Ultra Bomb, but the people that were there were so excited, and he talked to everybody, and you know, like just to know that, like that's the kind of shit that like, you know, if most of it went away or all of it went away, you could at least know that like you had those experiences and you crossed paths with people who like didn't let you down, didn't disappoint you.
For sure,
You know,
dude.
like they were like still as generous and like community focused as a 60 something year old person as they probably were when they were 20, you know, and that's why punk and hardcore and, you know, aggressive music or independent music or whatever you want to label it as, that's why it's so, that's why it survives, you know, like that's why it can be a weapon, it can be a communication tool, it can be, you know, all these things, but the community that surrounds it, you know, you guys doing this podcast, like it all clicks in together, and it paves this like really walkable road for people. And you know, just yeah, shout out to Greg Norton, and you know, like he's gonna hear this. I know he's gonna hear it. I'm gonna text it to him right after it publishes. No, I'm just kidding. But he's just a cool dude, and he really, you know, not that we needed a validation, but it just validates what you're doing every once in a while when a punk legend's
No,
just
for
like,
sure.
you guys rule. You know, okay,
Yeah,
cool,
like
thank you.
if he told us we ruled, I'd feel pretty cool too. Like, you know.
I could try to get him on Cameo,
Oh,
do a little video for you.
that'd be cool. He's
I don't know
just
how much it
like,
costs, but
Jeremy,
let me
Ryan,
know.
you guys rule.
Never talked to you guys, but you seem all right.
Yeah, Greg, there's this other Ryan, believe it or not.
Yep.
Yeah, I know it's a
who has a
really
podcast.
uncommon name.
Yeah.
So, if you can put aside the fact that you did a Husker Du cover and went on stage with Greg Norton, if you had to choose between the Replacements and Husker Du, who would you choose? So you look at him.
Don't make us do it.
I know,
is what I
dude.
would-
That's like that is. I have a list. I just did this the other day of like impossible choices. And that's one of them. Since we were talking, what would you do?
Dan, what would
That-
you do?
Oh, Husker Du.
What would
is
you
it-
do? DU umlaut.
Husker Du is an easy choice for me.
Okay.
I know that's not the case for you. And the fact that it's an easy choice, I know that's not.
It's not an easy
tougher
choice.
for you.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
not.
For me, Sugar is actually my answer. So this is your
Oh.
curveball. It's probably the Replacements only because I sort of fell in love with them first, I would say.
I
you know,
gotcha.
like you know, as a teenager, like I was, you know, definitely like hooked by, I'm 46, so you know, 1991, Nirvana comes out with Nevermind. You're like, holy shit, there's more music than Crisscross and Poison. And then, you know, you just start following.
People got their pants on the
Cats.
right way. This is crazy.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Also, they're on the right way, but they have a lot of holes and safety pins. But yeah, you know, like I think like I sort of was drawn to the more melodic stuff. Like I was really
Okay.
into the first couple Weezer records, you know, eventually. And I was like more into Fugazi than I was Minor Threat, you know. And so the, you know, I would say like the post-hardcore era of the Replacements, you know, through, I mean, I think Don't Tell a Soul is like a great record, you know, so like they just helped
But
me
that's
learn
not
how to
even
write
a
songs.
like, oh, we can
is what I
that
argue
mean.
was like
too,
that was like just a Tim Westerberg solo.
yeah, that's just
but
just a Paul Westerberg
or
solo.
Tim. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're thinking
Paul.
of the record.
I know.
Because I was too. When he was like, when you said post, I'm like Tim, but it would
Have
be
you
tough
guys
for
heard
me. It'd be tough for me to pick.
reissue, the remix,
Of
remaster of
Let It Be.
Let It Be? Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I did.
Yeah.
I like it.
Jeremy bought the box set.
I did.
Yeah, me too. I prefer it. It's really great.
Yeah, it's pretty
really good.
solid.
But I
But
think that's also, I will say, though, those replacement records and the Husker Du records, they don't sound very good. So I think if like all those Husker Du records up until like Candy Apple Gray, maybe, like, which starts to sound pretty good, if they got the same treatment as like Let It Be did, I would love that, because I feel like sometimes those Husker Du records get kind of like mucked up by the like really kind of like tiny and 80s, you know, production value.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I love those
I think
Sugar
they
records,
were
because they're
like,
so huge and like bombastic. Like I want to hear, you know, uh I don't know. I want to hear New Day Rising like full fidelity. And I just, unfortunately, that I think there's those records are like tied up in some kind of bullshit, legal bullshit,
probably,
that they can't
I think
do
that
that
was part
with.
of the
But
charm,
yeah, I
though,
was
to
just gonna
them,
say,
really,
like,
is like,
that's my New Day Rising's my favorite Husker Du album, and that's kind of almost a part of the appeal,
yeah.
you know.
Well, I'm also like a huge Guided by Voices fan, so like I'm very much down with shitty sounding records.
Gotcha.
I just want to hear a little more like
No,
muscle
they
in them, I
should they
think is
should they
what I
should they
miss.
deserve the fucking the big cut at 45 like
Yep.
rollout, no doubt.
I
But
realize it's a little blasphemous to like, I mean, both bands are perfect. Let's be
our,
honest.
yeah,
So
we'll go with that.
was it our, I think it was our third podcast episode we
Yeah.
ever did. We covered like the whole Replacements career, because we had both read their book.
Yeah, the Trouble
And
Boys.
awesome book.
So good.
looking back on it, it was probably horrible. Like,
Oh
I
yeah, we
haven't
could
listened
totally
to
redo it.
I haven't listened to it since then, but in our minds we were like, fuck yeah, we nailed that. But the book, the stories, like there's a lot of like really cool, funny, hilarious things in there. If you've read it, you obviously know what I'm talking about.
Yep. It's a great book.
Something involving you guys that made me think of that is I seen videos of this album being screen printed, the cover, and then the Replacement's second album, Stink, they hand stamped all the records, and none of the two are alike. You did 3 different variants of that, and I like that when you look at it, like you can feel like that it's screen printed, like it has like a very DIY aesthetic to it.
And it's not completely centered.
Yeah, which would normally bug the shit out of me, but for the sake of this, it added its own like sort of charm to it. So I actually really like that.
And shout out to
Yeah, that
Robert
was
Forrest for doing the cover.
absolutely. It was just about to say the same thing. Yeah, Rob just fucking knocked it out of the park with this stuff. Uh, I mean, I kind of had a vision, and I'm sure you can, you can tell some of like the not just the musical influences we have, but just like visual art influences. Like wanted this to kind of like look and feel like some of those old like SST records. Like there's Black Flag influence here, obviously, right?
Yep.
And Rob and I talked on the phone about it. He completely got what we were going for, and like, hey man, can you do a couple sketches? And it was like the next day he's fucking sending me 20 of them
That's
to
awesome.
to choose from and refine and continue working on. So yeah, we ended up doing three different variants for the cover. It mostly just I hadn't planned on that, but I just couldn't decide like which ones that I
Yeah.
liked that Rob sent. So it's like that would actually be kind of cool if we just I was gonna hand screen him anyway, so why not just chop up the run like that. So
No, it's
yeah,
definitely
ended up
cool. How'd you guys hook
yeah, nice.
how'd you guys hook up with Setterwind?
Wait, before we get into that, where'd Ryan go?
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
to another undisclosed location, and
Oh,
I think I hear him going back into the.
his video cut out.
I think he's going back into his bedroom right now.
Oh, he's back.
There he is. He back.
All right.
Switch
I had to take care of
sides.
something.
Well, before we get to Setterwind, so how many copies of each variant were done?
So let's see. We did 50 of the one that you're looking at right there, and then 25 of the other two.
Okay.
And then we did how many tapes? We did, I think, a run of 50 tapes, which the tapes just had one cover on it. I think is the art that you're looking at there, and then another run of CDs that had one of the different variants on it. So
I got
went
the CD.
multi-format for this one.
I was gonna say we had a CD floating around here somewhere earlier. I only asked because on the back it says 77 out of 100 on there. So I didn't know if maybe you did 100 of each cover or how that worked.
No, yeah, for the vinyl there was just like a total run of 100.
Gotcha.
So I just numbered them to 100.
Cool. So the actual image, like this right here, that's the screen printed part, or is Big Life as well screen printed?
Yeah, so all the green on there, so like everything that's on the back too, that was like digital offset printed.
Okay.
So yeah, just sent in the pre-made digital artwork that I did all the layout for. Got those jackets printed and left that big spot blank there, and then worked with a small organization called Copycat Detroit. They're two women that have been artists and screen printers in Detroit for ages. They have known these women for 15 years at least, and they have like a new business where they're teaching like some screen printing classes and just doing some other work with art and printing. And so I talked with them and asked like, hey, would you be up for let's give me a screen printing class while we're running all these records. So
Right.
I got to go, spend a day with them, learn a little bit, and they helped actually, knock out just a gigantic stack of record sleeves throughout the course of my screen printing lesson. So shout out Copycat Detroit.
Awesome. Oh yeah, what I was asking was how'd you guys hook up with Setterwind?
They, had been kind of on my radar a little bit. There's a band called Normal from Michigan or Toledo. I think that they might actually have some ties to maybe as well. That I kind of kept seeing pop up here and there. Like like I said, a little bit older, so we're not like at every single show, and it's kind of hard to keep up. But I kept seeing their name, and they kind of have like a grungy kind of like sort of heavy kind of vibe, and then I just started kind of like keeping my eye on them and some of the things that they were releasing. And they just seemed like they had like everything had like cool packaging and I thought the name Setterwind was like interesting. It just like stuck in my brain, and I ended up going to a like a record swap. It was in during COVID, but it was like after like people started getting vaccinated and things like that, so things started to open up again, and they had a record swap kind of like it was like records and some t-shirts, and people just had like little tables set up
just like a little expo.
It was at Edgemen Screen Printing, which does a lot of shows, a lot of hardcore and punk adjacent shows. And so I went and first I bought for $30 an original copy of Out of Step by Minor Threat on cassette. That was a good find there. I bought a bootleg Public Enemy t-shirt, also a good find. And I met the guys from Setterwind. I met Luke and Jake from Setterwind. They kind of had a table there with their merch set up. And I was kind of working on a solo record that I didn't really know what I was going to do with, and didn't have a band. I just like recorded everything, myself, and was trying to figure out how I was going to put it out. And I just, was like, hey, I've got this record. Like they kind of knew who I was or whatever from some of my other projects. I think this might have been before Big Life really started playing. But I just asked them if they would release this solo record of mine. And they're like, yeah, we could, maybe, what do you think about doing like a short run of tapes? I was like, I'll do anything,
Yeah, you just want to get it out.
I just want it out there, you know. And so that's kind of how it started. And then um, we started Big Life, and they were the first people that we knew because they were, Jake and Luke are fans of all different kinds of music. There's really no sound to Setterwind. Like there's a lot of different types of artists on there. There's, Big Life and um,
I really like Drop Rate that's on there.
Drop Rate, who
Yeah,
is
hell yeah.
Jake and Luke's band,
Yeah.
one of their bands. They're obviously like a heavier, like hardcore referencing band or whatever, but they've got Ethan Daniels, who he put out like kind of like a folk record, like my stuff, and some of my other bands more like pop records. Like I said, Normal's kind of like
It
heavier.
feels like it's a good fit for the band, though, like to be
Yeah.
on that
Well,
label.
they're just cool fucking dudes.
Yeah,
Like that
yeah.
is to me, like at this point, like I've been on like another, when I was in my 20s, I was on like like an indie label that was based in New York, and the band that I was in at the time got to do a lot of cool things. But like at this point, I'd rather just work with supportive, nice, kind, cool people who get it. We have a good arrangement with them where we kind of split things, cost wise, and they get the word out and they come to shows and we play shows together, and we're kind of always like in touch over text, and it's just
Yeah, for
become
sure.
this like kind of collective almost in a weird way, and all the bands kind of support each other, and so yeah, and they're based out of Lansing, so and
That's
we're
where
in
I was like
Detroit.
Lansing, Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, and there's I guess like a little scene going on up there, and Drop Rate, plays, there's like a house venue I think that does shows, and some other things going on. But yeah, I mean, they're just cool people, and they're good people, and they're honest people, and they work hard, and they're just, you know, like Luke over the summer, I had a solo band gig and our bass player was out of town, and I was like, I don't really want to cancel the show. Gotta get somebody to fill in, which is not like something that like I really do, like it's like it's the band or it's not, and Luke like learned all of the songs and came and played
That's
bass on,
cool.
and we actually, it was in Toledo, so we like drove down, and had a lot of fun doing it, and um Jake's got, kids, and like they're just people like us, man, and so yeah, they're the best. Shout out Luke and Jake from Setterwind.
Shout out, dudes.
Love those guys. And Shroom's band, we haven't talked about Jason Shroom enough or at all. Jason Shroom from Poison Tongues. His band, shit, what are they called, Dan?
Shobajin.
Shobajin.
Yeah.
They're on Setterwind. So, that's like homies from way back in the day, all on the same kind of little label. Is pretty cool,
Yeah, we love Jason. He's a good dude.
He's got red hair.
Yeah.
And so do I. So, by
You guys
default,
are down.
we're from the
Shout
same.
out to Jason. I'm a big Annie Up fan.
Fuck yeah.
He was
That
just
guy,
up here
he's
not that long
definitely
ago when he
the
played with Poison Tongues. Played
Yeah.
at a restaurant that's like right down the alley from my record store.
oh nice.
Over the summer.
He's like the guy. He's like you need a guy for your band.
Yeah, he's in it. Shout out to him.
I
Jason,
just
if
got
you're
a
We
text.
listening,
love you, Jason.
you're in another band now, to be announced later.
Just got a text from him this afternoon, right before coming over here. Our shirts are ready to pick up. So
Oh, here you go.
Oh, right
Yeah.
on.
Operations manager.
yeah,
That's what's
merch update.
You guys got some new merch coming out then, hey?
A little bit, yeah. Just
That's
did
cool.
another short run of we'll get them up soon, but a short run of some fuck ice fundraising Big
Oh,
Life
right on.
shirts. So
Right on.
Cool.
yeah.
So
So
we ask this every episode.
Oh wait, I want to get to shows a little bit
Oh,
more.
go ahead.
Because we highlighted Dan's fucking Husker Du moment there, but outside of that, is there any You guys played a few shows throughout the winter last year. I seen you did a small little run. Anything show-wise that like stands out to you guys, or any festivals that you would like to play on that are sort of a goal for you?
Dan?
I was just gonna say, Ryan, you gotta answer for that.
Because
I mean, I think that
people are listening, so.
I mean, we're very realistic about this band and where we are in life, and we understand like we're a little bit on the outside, in a weird way, and not in a way that like I mean negative or critical or anything like that. We just, we're not as like entrenched, I think in the scene as a lot of other bands are that deserve to play, some festivals and shows and things like that because they're helping build it, they're helping sustain it.
Right.
And we're a little bit on the outside of that. So while we would love to play like something like Tied Down or something of that like ilk, we understand that like there's a whole collective of people building those things that are also in bands, that should be the ones that are like getting to showcase, their music and their talent, at these things. So we're super happy and content with like what we've been able to do in a pretty short period of time. We played with, a lot of really good bands, both local and national. I think like our second show ever was opening for Soulside and
Soulside, yeah.
Jay Robbins, who was from Jawbox. Like, you know, even though there wasn't like a shitload of people there or whatever, just getting to like hang with legends and people that have been doing it forever and get their respect. Not that that's the reason we did it, but just, like for those people to be complimentary of what we're doing in a very early stage of the band was really cool. And I think like those early kind of opportunities and a little bit of like kindness that we received from people, in the scene again and just adjacent to it, was enough to kind of give us the like motivation to like keep rocking with it. And not that like, if that didn't happen, we would have quit or anything like that. But we're just, what I mean to say is we appreciate any opportunities that we're given and, the people that we've been able to meet through playing together, but also Tied Down, holler at your boys. Okay. If it may be 2027, who knows? But yeah, what was the other part of your question? I think you're just kind of curious about like show stories and things like that.
Yeah. That was basically all the question.
Dan, the Job Stoppers gig is a funny, kind of weird one.
Oh shit! Have you guys ever been to a show at Job Stoppers down Southwest Detroit?
No.
I have not.
Uh, it's a tattoo shop, kind of a hole in the wall kind of building. But yeah, we I don't think any of us had ever been there before. Uh, so we're really not sure what to expect. But yeah, just rolled up into a, you know, full-on basement show, walls lined with visqueen like the Dexter kill room. Uh, it's just uh, the kind of venue that like when I was playing in bands as an 18-year-old, I would have just been so fucking stoked.
Right.
Like this is the most punk venue I've ever been to. Rolling in there at 45 was just like, fuck. Am I punk enough to play basement shows like this?
I ended
Uh,
up getting 2 tattoos at
that's
the show just to like counterbalance. I was like, well, somebody's got to do something punk here, so I'm
yeah.
just gonna get tattooed.
And you
And
got two.
like they're cool. Like it was a
They were
fun like
super
night,
nice people. Yeah.
but
Awesome.
like I think we were just kind of like, what is going on here? Like how is this even here? But shout out to Job Stoppers, like they're doing punk shit and like that's fun.
Before Jeremy prematurely asked the
Or
question a
did.
little bit ago,
Settle down, Jeremy.
I'll try.
before
I'll
I
try.
get to that, do you guys have anything that you would like to add, plug, get off your chest, any of that stuff?
How much time do you have, man?
Not enough if you're gonna give me like a how does this make you feel breakdown.
Anything we want to, I would just say, like, the current state of the world is very chaotic and confusing and scary in some ways. But having this as like a way to stay grounded and to connect with other people has been an extremely like helpful and important part of my life personally. And I think that for a lot of people who probably are listening to this podcast, community, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, the community right now is like extremely important. And I would assume that a lot of people that listen to this podcast realize that and understand that, because hardcore and heavy music especially is very much this community oriented thing. And I guess I would just say, like, if we as like punks and people who are kind of like on the outside of like regular society, can take what we've learned through music and apply it to uh, our neighbors and our friends who maybe aren't punk or whatever, and show them how to organize, show them how to support people and one another, I think we'd be in a much better spot.
Go see your friends' bands. Just everything Ryan just said. It's a small, stupid, trivial little thing, but it's like an opportunity that we all have to kind of build and share community. And 5 bands playing 20-minute sets on a fucking Wednesday night, you're gonna see a bunch of like-minded people that it just feels good to have the people around and friends around. And yeah, I don't know. Close your fucking phone. Go see your friend's band.
I agree with
Good
that
advice.
as well.
Good advice.
Shout out Jason Shroom.
Shout
Go
out
see
Jason
Poison
Shroom.
Tongues, Shobajin, Annie Up, the Jason Shroom Project. I made that last one up.
I was gonna say, wait, is that actually
The Shroom Experience.
the Shroom Experience?
Is it Shroom or Shroom?
I
Shroom.
was actually gonna ask that because you kept saying shroom, so I was like, have we been saying it wrong this whole
Shroom.
time? Or
I've always said Shroom.
Mushroom
Shrum.
Head.
I mean, there's a U.
His solo project, Mushroom
Mushroom.
Head.
And then up here, I know a Jason Schramm as well.
yeah,
Shit.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Shram.
He doesn't have red hair. But anyway,
All right. So at the end of our episodes, we always ask people this question, and you almost briefly tapped into it earlier, just without names. But outside of the genre of music that you guys play, what is something that you listen to that people would not expect you to listen to?
I did.
And don't
Okay.
take that. Let me rephrase this, and don't
Yeah.
take this as a guilty pleasure thing. Just something that
Yeah.
people would be like, "Oh, I wouldn't expect that guy to listen to that. That's cool," or whatever.
Even though Ryan is the power pop guy, I've always listened to like just like bubblegum pop stuff. I love Kelly Clarkson. I love Carly Rae Jepsen, like that kind of shit. I dig it. I've also
What's
been
the you have a t-shirt. Why can't I think of her name?
oh shit.
Mantika? No, it's not. What is it?
Oh, Martika. Yeah.
Martika, yeah.
Martika.
Yeah.
Do a Google for Martika, guys.
Yeah, Martika
Martika.
Highly
fucking
recommend it.
rocks. I like all last year, I swear I listened to more classical music than like actual like rock music or punk music. I don't know why, man. Like that's that's something like I've totally gotten back into big time. Like if I'm flipping through my Apple Music or whatever and just nothing's really calling to me, and I don't want to sit at my job and uh listen to the new End It record or something super aggressive. I've been listening to just a ton of classical music lately.
That's a good way to refresh like your palate too. We both do that all the time,
Yeah.
where we just go on little benders of different things, and sometimes you revisit something you didn't like before and you end up liking it, or you find
Yeah.
something that you didn't know existed and you fall down a rabbit hole. And that's why I like asking this question, because you always get a different answer. And some people, that's why I rephrased it, because some people take it as like a guilty pleasure thing, and that's not how we mean
Yeah.
it to be. It's more just of a curiosity of like the span of what you're listening to.
Yeah, I think guilty pleasure is no pleasure should be guilty, you know? I mean,
Right.
unless it's illegal, maybe. But you know, I mean, I don't think anybody should be embarrassed about what they like,
yeah.
you
No,
know.
not at
And
all.
I think that you know, music is a it's a language, right? And so everything gets, you know, you're it speaks to you in whatever way it speaks to you. It doesn't matter if it's the most popular shit in the world or the most obscure thing in the world. Like, I mean, I would echo Dan's sentiment. Like, I love Madonna, I love Janet Jackson, you know, like I love a lot of like female fronted R&B and pop from the 90s and 80s. You know, it's just like what you heard when you were driving around with your mom, you know,
Oh,
like
for
going
sure,
grocery
man. I got
shopping.
love for Tony Braxton. Shit.
Hell yeah,
Oh, yeah.
dude. Unbreak my heart. That
Yes,
guy.
sir.
They just
Um,
reissued all her records.
Yeah, I know.
but for me, like last year I really got into this dude Fela Kuti. I don't know if you're familiar
Oh yeah,
with him,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
for your listeners, he is a now deceased Nigerian Afrobeat artist. And I think I was just like looking for things like I was always like into like Talking Heads and you know like stuff that like is rhythmic and like LCD Sound System or something like that. That's like just kind of stealing from him,
Mm,
but never really like dove deep into his catalog. And I think this last year, you know, he's activist. He was living in a police state in you know Nigeria, and this you know as his kind of popularity was on the rise in the late 60s, early 70s, you know, he kind of turned into this like activist, had his own compound, you know, kind of safe haven, had his own venue. Yeah, Fela Kuti, Afrobeat in general, like world music, things from, you know, Africa especially. I've started to pick up a lot of different like compilations. There's one called Analog Africa that I've got like 3 or 4 copies of different volumes they put out, and it's just like the best shit, you know, and it's that kind of is like the thing that I think, you know, um, expanding your mind and learning and understanding that there's more music than just like white dudes playing guitars, you know.
Yes,
uh
sir.
like if you're not like fucking with the shit outside of that box, like you're missing out big time, you know. So and it helps inspire us, you know, and that's kind of another reason to do it. But
yeah,
Fela,
we
the
run
man,
we
the
run into
legend.
that a lot at the record store, where people claim they listen to everything, but everything to them is like Van Halen and
This much.
Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I also listen to Triumph, and I'm like, dude, like,
Yeah.
like your everything is like a less than 1%. But that's a conversation for another time.
Well, when
Because
you
we could
have
get real carried
apps
away
on
with
your
that.
phone, where you've got the portal to all music, you know,
Yeah,
which
but
I buy records,
but
you
when you
know,
have
still, but
people that all music to them was like 1976 to 1985, and then nothing good afterwards, it becomes a hard conversation to have.
yeah, I'm sure it
Because you
does. For
always
sure.
get they don't make anything good anymore. I'm like, no, it's just not.
And I love how
It's
that
not
doesn't
blasted in your
discriminate
face in the
against
radio.
genres. It doesn't
Like,
matter what it is. They're like, this is it. The rest of it sucks.
yeah,
Well, I'd be the first to admit that like sometimes I'll get into um like a comfort zone with music where I'm just like, I don't know what to listen to. I'll just listen to this thing that I've been listening to since I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And that's fine, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. Um,
no, but
but
I don't think it gives people the right to like dismiss everything else because they haven't tried it. Like just because
yeah,
just because you didn't
For
like
sure.
take the initiative to be like, oh, I liked fucking Led Zeppelin in the 70s, but there's this new band called Dusty Rose Gang who sounds like 70s rock and shit, but I don't know them, so I'm not gonna listen to
Yeah,
them.
fuck that. I don't want to hear that
Try
shit.
it
I
out,
want to
like-
hear fucking Led Zeppelin 4 again.
Yeah, that's basically how it is. But anyways, I could
Hey,
go
that's
on. I
another-
could go
that's
on
another
that.
episode.
I could go
Yeah.
on that for a
Do you
while.
know that? Do you guys know that jazz label International Anthem?
Yeah.
As a
Yeah.
record store owner, I would assume you might. There's some really cool shit coming out on that label, like Jeff Parker. That's another thing that I really like got into last year. He put a record out. It's like just sort of improv jazz record, and these are things that like I admittedly probably was not like super hip to a few years ago. And Jordan, our drummer in Big Life, is a total head, and he's really like helped me personally like open my eyes to things. And so kind of bring it back to like your friends and community and all that shit. Like that's why I think like we're in this band to make music and to play shows and do the things that like all bands do, but I get just as much enjoyment of like communicating with all of them in our text chains during the day and sharing music and jokes and all these other things as I do playing the actual music. And so I think like you know, I feel super lucky to have these folks in my life who can teach me things, right? And so that's kind of where I think I would leave it. It's just like, the expansion of your mind can come from, your community around you, and it's an awesome thing to experience. So
That's a good quote to leave off on. We'll make sure that's carved into your headstone one day.
thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be cremated, but you can still
Put it on the urn then.
Put
There's
it on
room
the
for
urn,
it
just
Put 'em
like-
on
somewhere.
the urn.
get like a punk sticker company to make just a sticker and just slap it on there.
A thermal printed sticker that
Yep.
you cannot put in the sun. Leave Ryan out of sun. He's got red
Oh
hair.
my god.
Yeah,
that'd be
it's
funny.
already dead or alive. I will get a sunburn.
But all right, we'll let you guys get out of here. We appreciate your time and sitting here chatting with us. It's been a good time. I'm not sure if you're going to be at Tied Down, but if you are, stop and say what's up to us.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that if we're around. And thank you guys for all the nice things that you said about our music and for talking to us. We appreciate it.
Hey, man, thanks for jumping on.
Absolutely.